Hey everyone, I'm Dr. Isabella Norris, and today I need your full attention because what I'm about to share with you could save your life, or at the very least, save your legs and your eyesight. I've been practicing medicine for over 15 years now, and I'm not exaggerating when I say that. I've seen too many good men lose toes, lose their vision, end up on dialysis, all because nobody sat them down and told them the truth about what they were eating. So before we go any further, let me be upfront with you. I'm a board-certified physician. I've spent the better part of 2 decades working with patients who have type 2 diabetes, metabolic syndrome, insulin resistance. This isn't something I read about in a magazine. This is what I do every single day. And what I'm about to tell you comes from years of clinical experience watching real people get real results when they finally understand what's actually happening inside their bodies. Now, let me start with a question. Have you ever sat down to dinner, eaten what you thought was a perfectly healthy meal, a salad no less, and then 2 hours later checked your blood sugar and thought the meter was broken? You're staring at 220, 240, maybe even higher, and you're thinking, I just had a salad. How is this possible? You're not crazy, and you're not alone. I hear this from men in my clinic every single week. Guys in their 60s, 70s, men who served in the military, men who built houses with their bare hands, men who never complained about anything in their lives, sitting across from me looking defeated because they can't figure out why their numbers won't come down, no matter what they do. Here's what nobody's telling you. That salad you think is saving you might actually be destroying you. That mix of vegetables that everyone says is the answer to everything. Eat your veggies, eat your salad. It can behave inside your body worse than a cheeseburger, worse than a plate of French fries. And I know that sounds crazy, but stick with me because I'm going to prove it to you in the next few minutes. There's a quiet crisis happening right now, especially among older men in this country. We've been told our whole lives to eat more vegetables, eat more salad. And you, with all your good intentions and discipline, you listen. You go to the grocery store, you buy the ingredients, you make yourself a nice big salad for dinner, and you go to bed thinking you did the right thing. Then your fasting glucose the next morning is through the roof and you feel like a failure. It's not your fault. The problem is not you. The problem is that certain vegetables prepared certain ways trigger an insulin response that your body simply cannot handle anymore. And I'm going to show you exactly which ones. But first, you need to understand a little bit of science. And I promise I'll keep this short and simple because I know you want me to get to the point. I've got guys in my practice who tell me, Doc, just tell me what to eat and what not to eat. I respect that, but if you understand the why, you'll never fall for these traps again. And you won't need me or anyone else to tell you what's safe. You'll know it yourself. So here's what I call the invisible spike. I call it invisible because it's sneaky. When you eat a piece of candy, your tongue warns you immediately. Sugar, sweet. Your brain gets the alert signal. But when you eat certain starchy vegetables, your tongue tastes something savory, something neutral, maybe even bland. No alarm bells. But inside your body, you're getting a glucose load identical to eating a dessert, sometimes worse. Let me give you a simple picture so you never forget this. Think of glucose as individual pearls. When you eat table sugar, you're eating loose pearls that go straight into your bloodstream. Fast. No waiting. Now starch, which is what potatoes, rice, corn, wheat, and pasta are made of. Starch is just a necklace of those same pearls strung together one after another, same pearls, just connected. When you eat that starch, your digestive system has these sharp little tools called enzymes, and the moment that necklace hits your gut, those enzymes cut the string. What happens when the string gets cut? The pearls scatter, loose free, and they flood into your bloodstream in minutes. Your pancreas doesn't care whether those pearls came in as a necklace or loose. It sees sugar, pure and simple. And it responds with a massive insulin demand that, if you're diabetic or pre-diabetic, your body simply cannot meet. That's when you get that brutal blood sugar spike. Now, here's the second critical factor that most people completely miss. And this is especially important for you fellas who do the cooking at home. Processing and cooking change everything. How you prepare food matters as much as or more than what the food actually is. In their natural state, starches are usually trapped inside a fiber matrix, a tough web that slows down absorption. That's nature's design. It's like a speed bump for sugar. But in our modern kitchens, we've learned to destroy that protection. When you boil a potato until it's soft, when you cook pasta until it's tender, you break apart that fiber web. You're basically pre-digesting the food before it even hits your stomach. A raw carrot, for example, forces you to chew. It's got tough fiber, it digests slowly, but cook that same carrot until it's mushy and it hits your blood sugar twice as fast. The fundamental mistake that millions of men make every day is assuming that because they're eating a salad, because there are vegetables involved, it must be healthy. But if that salad is composed mainly of cooked starches that have lost their fiber structure, you're not eating a salad. You're technically eating complex sugars disguised as vegetables. And when you factor in that as we get older, our insulin production declines, our cells become more resistant, well, that's a recipe for disaster. But here's the good news. Once you understand this, you can use it to your advantage. It's not about starving yourself. I know a lot of you feel like everything is off limits and there's nothing left to eat. I hear you. That's the number one complaint I get. Doc, what am I supposed to eat, grass? No, it's about making smart swaps that keep your blood sugar flat and stable. All right, let's get into it. No more theory. Let's talk specifics. Number 1 on the blacklist is the king of the American potluck, the classic potato salad. Listen, I get it. Potato salad is a 4th of July staple. It's at every barbecue, every church supper, every family reunion from Maine to California. Your grandma made it, your wife makes it, and it tastes like home. But for a diabetic man, boiled potato is one of the most aggressive things you can put in your body. Remember what we talked about with that fiber web? When you boil a potato, the starch gelatinizes. It becomes this soft, mushy paste that your enzymes tear apart in seconds. The glycemic index of a boiled potato is actually higher than table sugar, higher than white bread. When you eat a bowl of potato salad, you're essentially eating several tablespoons of solid glucose. And then you add mayonnaise, which we'll talk about in a minute, and you've got a double problem. Now I know some of you have heard about resistant starch, the idea that if you cook a potato and then cool it down, it becomes safer. There was a lot of buzz about this online. Let me save you some disappointment. The reduction in glycemic impact from cooling is real, but it's modest, maybe 15 to 20%. That's not enough to make potato salad safe for a diabetic. One of my patients, a retired firefighter named Bill, tried this for 3 months because he saw it on YouTube. His A1C went up, not down. So let's put that myth to rest right now. Number 2 is potato salad's first cousin, pasta salad. Doesn't matter if it's white pasta, whole wheat pasta, tricolor rotini, whatever. Once you cook pasta, that flour has an enormous absorption surface area. It hits your bloodstream almost as fast as liquid sugar. I don't care if you throw broccoli and cherry tomatoes on top of it. The base of that salad is still processed grain, and for a type 2 diabetic, it's not an option. Number 3, and this one surprises a lot of people, is fruit salad. Now before you come at me, let me explain. Fruit is natural, absolutely. God put it on this earth. But the fruit we eat today is not the same fruit our grandparents ate. And it's definitely not the same fruit that existed a few hundred years ago. Through selective breeding over many generations, modern fruit has been developed to be much larger and much sweeter than its ancestors. A modern apple has significantly more sugar than a wild apple from 2 centuries ago. When you make a fruit salad with mango, pineapple, grapes, and banana, and you eat a big bowl of it, thinking you're being healthy, you're consuming a massive sugar load. For a diabetic, fruit should be a small side, a few berries, a quarter of an apple. It should never be the main event. Number 4 is the darling of fancy restaurants, the classic Caesar salad. Now, the lettuce itself is fine. Romaine is not the problem. The problem is everything else. The croutons are bread. The dressing is usually loaded with hidden sugars, thickeners, and sometimes even cornstarch. You think you're eating a light, sophisticated meal, but there's a sugar bomb hiding between those green leaves. Number 5 is the coleslaw, the creamy kind you get at every fried chicken joint and barbecue stand in America. Cabbage itself is actually pretty good for you. Low glycemic, decent fiber, but commercial coleslaw dressing is where everything goes wrong. And this brings me to something I need to talk about that goes beyond just salads. I want you to go to your kitchen right now. Well, not right now, finish the video first. But after this, go open your refrigerator. Look at the door, all those bottles lined up in there. The ranch dressing, the Thousand Island, the honey mustard, the Italian, those colorful plastic bottles are the real saboteurs of your health, and nobody's talking about it. For decades in this country, we were told that fat was the enemy. The food industry convinced us that low fat and fat-free was the way to go. Zero cholesterol, heart healthy, all those labels. But here's what they didn't tell you. Fat is what gives food its flavor. When a food company removes the natural fat to slap a light label on the bottle, the product tastes like cardboard. So what do? They replace the fat with sugar. High fructose corn syrup, maltodextrin, dextrose, all fancy names for the same thing, sugar. You pour that dressing on your salad thinking you're making a healthy choice, and you just dumped 3 teaspoons of sugar on your vegetables. The second villain in those bottles, and this one might be even more dangerous long term, is the industrial seed oils. Soybean oil, canola oil, sunflower oil. These are not natural fats. They're extracted using chemical solvents at high temperatures, and they're loaded with omega-6 fatty acids that cause chronic inflammation in your body. Now, why does that matter for a diabetic? Because your cell membranes, the skin around every cell in your body, are made of fat. When you flood your system with these inflammatory industrial oils, those cell membranes become stiff and inflamed. And when the membrane is inflamed, it can't hear insulin knocking at the door. Your pancreas is screaming, "Let the sugar in," and the cell can't respond. That's insulin resistance at the cellular level. And every time you eat a salad with commercial dressing, you're making it worse. And don't trust the labels. I've seen bottles that say olive oil dressing on the front. And when you flip it over and read the ingredients, olive oil is the 5th ingredient. Soybean oil is the first. It's designed to mislead you. So the situation seems pretty grim, right? On one side, you've got starchy salads spiking your glucose. On the other side, you've got inflammatory oils and hidden sugars in the dressings. Feels like there's nothing left to eat. I know some of you are thinking, "Doc, am I supposed to just eat plain lettuce for the rest of my life?" No, absolutely not. Let's flip the script right now, because this is the most important part of this whole conversation. I'm going to give you 5 salads that will actually help you fight diabetes, and I'm going to tell you exactly how to dress them so they taste good without destroying your health. The first powerhouse salad is what I call the bitter green salad. Arugula, escarole, endive, dandelion greens. Why bitter? Because bitter greens have not been bred for sweetness like other vegetables. Nobody's trying to make dandelion greens taste like candy. They still have their original compounds intact, and those compounds stimulate your liver, support bile production, and have virtually zero impact on your insulin. Toss them with generous pieces of cucumber, some shaved radish, and you've got a salad that fills you up and barely registers on your glucose meter. The second one is the real Mediterranean salad, not the American version with croutons and bottled Italian dressing. I'm talking about the real thing. Thick slices of ripe tomato, half an avocado, thinly sliced red onion, fresh cilantro or basil, a drizzle of real extra virgin olive oil, cold pressed, and a squeeze of lemon. That's it. No flour, no croutons, no tricks. Now, I do want to mention something important here that a lot of doctors skip over. If you have kidney problems, and many diabetic men do, you need to be careful with avocado and tomato because they're high in potassium. Talk to your doctor about your kidney function before making this a daily staple. That's the kind of nuance that matters in real medicine. Number 3 is my personal favorite, the false potato salad. This one is going to change your life. Instead of boiled potatoes, you use steamed cauliflower. Cut it into chunks about the size of potato cubes, steam it until it's just tender, but still has a little bite. Then dress it with a simple vinaigrette. When you eat it, your palate will feel something remarkably similar to potato salad. But you're eating a vegetable that actually improves your insulin sensitivity and can reduce inflammation by up to 30%. It's a straight swap, same comfort, completely different metabolic outcome. Number 4 is a raw cruciferous crunch salad. Shaved raw broccoli, thinly sliced Brussels sprouts, chopped kale, maybe some sunflower seeds for crunch. The key here is raw. When these vegetables are raw, they retain all their fiber, all their protective compounds. They force you to chew, which slows down eating and gives your satiety hormones time to kick in. Dress it with apple cider vinegar and olive oil, and you've got a meal that fights diabetes on multiple fronts. Number 5 is the spinach and egg salad. Baby spinach is your base, a couple of hard-boiled eggs sliced on top, some walnuts, a few slices of red bell pepper for color. The protein from the eggs and the fat from the walnuts slow down digestion dramatically. So even though spinach has a tiny amount of natural sugar, it gets absorbed so slowly that your blood sugar barely moves. This is a perfect lunch for a man who needs to stay sharp all afternoon. Now, let me give you the golden rule for dressings. Throw away every commercial dressing in your refrigerator. I'm serious, every single one. From now on, you make your own. It takes 2 minutes. Here's what you need: good extra virgin olive oil, apple cider vinegar or fresh lemon juice, a pinch of salt, maybe some garlic or herbs if you want flavor. That's it. Whisk it together in a jar. It keeps in the fridge for a week. Do not use balsamic vinegar, by the way. Most commercial balsamic vinegar is loaded with added sugar and caramel coloring. Real balsamic from Modena is fine, but it's expensive and hard to find. Apple cider vinegar is cheap, it's everywhere, and it actually has some evidence behind it for improving insulin sensitivity. Now I know some of you are thinking olive oil is expensive, avocados are expensive, and you're right, they're not cheap. If budget is a concern, and for a lot of folks on a fixed income it absolutely is, here's what I tell my patients. You don't need to drench your salad in olive oil. A tablespoon is enough for a big bowl. That's maybe 30 cents worth. And instead of avocado, you can use a hard-boiled egg for your healthy fat. Eggs are still one of the cheapest, most nutritious foods in America. A dozen eggs costs less than a bottle of ranch dressing, and it'll last you longer. One last tip before I let you go. Start every meal with your salad. Eat it first, before anything else touches your plate. When you put that fiber and those healthy fats into your stomach first, they create a buffer. They slow down the absorption of whatever comes next. So even if you have a small portion of rice or a piece of bread with dinner, the fiber from that salad you ate first will blunt the glucose spike. It's a simple trick that costs you nothing and can make a real difference in your numbers. All right, let me bring this home. I know that was a lot of information, and I know some of you are sitting there right now thinking about all the times you ate that potato salad at the cookout or poured that sweet dressing on your dinner salad, and you're feeling frustrated. Don't be. What matters is not what you did yesterday. What matters is what you do starting today. You've got the knowledge now. You didn't have it before. That's not your fault. Type 2 diabetes is not a death sentence. It's not even a life sentence. It's a condition that responds to intelligence and strategy. And you just got both. Here's what I want you to do this week. Just 1 week. Swap out one of those dangerous salads for one of the 5 I just gave you. Replace your commercial dressing with homemade olive oil and vinegar, and then watch your numbers. Check your glucose before and 2 hours after dinner. I think you're going to be surprised at how quickly those numbers start coming down and stabilizing. Your body wants to heal. It always wants to heal. It just needs you to give it the right tools. If this information helped you, share it with a buddy. Share it with your brother, your neighbor, the guy you have coffee with at the diner. Because I guarantee you, somebody in your life is fighting the same battle and nobody's told them the truth yet. I'm Dr. Isabella Norris, and my only goal is to give you the tools to enjoy your life for as long as possible. Take care of yourselves, gentlemen. I'll see you in the next one.